On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Lala, to address Convocation.
Honorable Chancellor Ortman, Honorable Vice Chancellor Chakma, distinguished colleagues on the platform, distinguished members of the community in the audience, and most importantly, my dear students who are graduating this morning, their families and friends. First, I used to congratulate all the students who are receiving their degrees this morning for their achievements. I feel enormously proud to join your ranks as an alumnus of this great university. I cannot think of a greater honor than being recognized by one's own university, a place that has been home to me for more than half of my academic life. While I am not sure how I was chosen amongst the many deserving people who could have received this distinction, the news did get me thinking about what message I would like to leave with you at the juncture of your careers. Now, looking back over my own life and hoping to find some short, simple message to share with you left me with three simple questions, whose pursuit, at times by design and at times by chance, shaped my life and career. These questions are, the first one, what is my passion and how do I remain true to that passion? The second one, who are my role models and what can I learn from them? And the third is what is to be my legacy and how do I give back? Now, with your indulgence, I hope to share snippets of the journey that has brought me to this stage in front of you and how these questions were answered for me. You have heard a little bit from Dr. Watson. I was born in 1934 in a small village in India under the British rule, currently part of Bangladesh, where my father was a highly regarded principal of the local high school. He was the first role model who instilled craving for learning within me from an early age. I believe this to be the spark of my lifelong passion for the pursuit of knowledge. I learned early on that to be happy in life and career, I needed to do what I loved to do, rather than doing what was the easiest. I grew up through a fairly tumultuous time in India's history, through the Second World War and India's own partition in attaining independence in 1947, all of which had an impact in shaping my life as well as my career. Now, the second role model I would mention who shaped my future was a maternal uncle, a philanthropist monk running a charitable orphanage, a school, and a hospital for destitute children afflicted by the ravages of famine and war. Seeing his work at a very early age, I developed the dream of becoming a medical scientist to find cures of hitherto untreatable diseases. This uncle was killed during the violence of the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1972. Not only did he inspire me to be a medical scientist, but to keep newly found treatments freely accessible. Adopting his ideology later on, I declined to patent a novel therapy that my laboratory devised here at Western to treat advanced melanoma and kidney cancer patients. In 1950, I moved as a refugee student to Calcutta. After coming to India, I was faced with the responsibility of rehabilitating my uprooted family. I also needed to support myself. Fortunately, I earned scholarships for my undergraduate and graduate education. In 1957, I graduated with an MBBS degree from Calcutta Medical College and then completed my internship in residency medicine. During my days, there was no such thing as an MD PhD program, but I did it later on, as you'll see. My third role model during my student days was another monk, the late Swami Lokeshwarananda of the Ramakrishna Mission, known for his monumental contributions to education and humanitarian services in India. He encouraged me to engage in social work to poverty-stricken slums while I was a medical student. He remains to me a spiritual source of inspiration in my pursuit of science and education as a tool for serving others and training the future generation. After my residency, specializing and then setting up a medical practice would have been expedient financially, but I chose to engage myself to research to fulfill my earlier dreams. As I mentioned, there was no MD PhD program during my era, and I had to find a suitable mentor. I went from door to door to some reputed scientist, and finally met my first role model in academia, a well-known physicist known as Professor N.N. Dasgupta, who was the founding head of the new medical biophysics division of the Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics. He was looking for a research-minded clinician rather than a graduate student to apply radioactive tracers to solve basic medical problems. I did not fit the bill, nor did I have a background in physics. However, he accepted me with open arms. He trained me to take on the challenge of physics to apply to my research project, which was designed to measure the lifespan of white blood cells in leukemic patients by using radioactive phosphorus as a tracer to tag them. This research was highly rewarding, leading to a PhD degree in 1961. He taught me to break the traditional boundaries in scientific disciplines for the creation of new knowledge. From him, I learned physics and applied it in my research in cancer cell kinetics later on. He instilled within me the joy of mentorship and giving back to my students. Simultaneously, I conducted another clinical research project on leukemias, leading to research-based MD or doctoral degree in medicine in 1962. My doctoral publications in the field of cell kinetics attracted the interest of some notable stalwarts in the US and UK, resulting in several generous offers for postdoctoral research, including one from Argonne National Laboratory affiliated with the University of Chicago, which Dr. Watson mentioned. I joined Argonne to work with Dr. Harvey Patt, a respected radiobiologist who had received the President's Medal for his discoveries on radiation protection. There, I continued to study the kinetics of blood cell formation in leukemias, and 2 years later, moved with him to the San Francisco Medical Center as a faculty member and studied the life history of cancer cells. There, I made the second important decision that shaped my future career. While I did basic research at the Laboratory of Radiobiology and Biophysics, I saw patients in the hematology clinic twice a week as a joint appointee of the Department of Hematology and Immunology. But I quickly realized that while I could contribute by practicing medicine, my real fulfillment came out of devoting myself to full-time research and teaching, and I never looked back. In 1967, I moved to Canada as a scientist at the Chalk River Nuclear Laboratories, as is mentioned, and 1 year later joined the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology at McGill at the invitation of Professor Charles Leblanc. Many of you may know his name, the father of modern histology and cell biology, who discovered the adult stem cells. He was an extraordinary scientist, exemplary teacher, and administrator, who became my second role model in academia. Leblanc remained active in research until the age of 85. I don't know whether I can do that. When I hosted him to give a seminar at Western, and when he came, he did not want to talk about the old things. He was talking about new stuff. He died 6 years ago at the age of 96. When I arrived at McGill, he assigned me to teach human embryology or developmental anatomy to medical students, in which I had no prior experience. Although I was initially very hesitant to teach this subject, he convinced me to do so. I am really grateful that he did. While teaching this subject, I learned that maintaining a critical eye can lead to new research directions. For example, the fetus and the placenta, carrying the genes from both parents, are potentially foreign to the mother's immune system, and yet they remain protected from the immune attack in the mother's womb. In my lecture, reviewing the contemporary literature explaining this riddle in nature, I felt very uncomfortable with the existing theories. These discomfort led me to start working on placental biology, and I have not looked back since. We discovered that certain immune mechanisms that protect the placenta are also exploited by cancer cells to defy our immune system. We later applied this knowledge to develop a novel immunotherapy for certain cancers here at Western. We also found that placenta is an invasive tumor-like organ, leading to a discovery of certain mechanisms that control placental invasion of the pregnant uterus and invasion in general, and also certain genetic changes leading to placental cancers. All these because Dr. LeBlanc convinced me to teach a first-year course in medicine. In 1977-78, while at McGill, I spent a highly productive sabbatical year with the world-renowned immunologist Sir Gustav Nossal at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research in Melbourne. There, I delved into the exciting field of immunology that I later applied to my research in cancer and reproduction. Nossal has since remained a lifelong friend and a source of inspiration to me. Actually, I received a letter from him yesterday. Even at the age of 82, he is active globally in his public advocacy for the prevention of afflictions in the third world, such as malaria and HIV/AIDS. I served at McGill for 15 years before joining here at Western, where I spent my last 30 years working with wonderful colleagues and students who have enriched my life. During my career, I learned over and over again that there is no such thing as a dead end or failure in research. And I disagree with many who tell me that. As a tide finds a new channel to flow, so also with an open mind, new avenues open out of negative or unexpected results. I also learned that real happiness comes out of sharing one's knowledge for the common good. So, finally, what will be my legacy? Now that the final answer to this question for me is yet to be determined, as I would like to think, I still have a few more years left in my career, and God willing, many more years left in my life to enjoy my grandchildren. That said, while I would like to be remembered for some of my contributions to the world of biomedical research, my true living legacy are my students and my family. I have always been blessed with the extraordinary talents of my graduate students and postdoctoral fellows, clinical fellows who have worked with me, and I think one is here, who are responsible for all the discoveries in my lab, and I've learned a lot from them while I tried to mentor them. I am so proud to see many of them succeed not only as excellent scientists and educators, but also as excellent persons who care for the betterment of society, and I value it very much. I am also grateful to many brilliant colleagues who have generously helped me in learning of newer disciplines. To the students in medicine, whom I have taught for some 5 decades, my greatest joy is to see them succeed in their professions and also hear they recognize me as their teacher at unexpected encounters many years later. That's a great joy. I am grateful to my family, who have always helped nurture my dreams, in particular to my wife for enriching my academic life with their passions in music. To sum up, if there is anything you may take away for dinner conversation from my talk today, I hope it will be 3 little questions which I've talked about. Am I following my passion? And my advice is, please don't abandon your dreams. Who are my role models? And my prediction is, you will always find them wherever you go. There will be no doubt of role models. And the third is, what will be my legacy? And here is a request to all of you. Be unselfish in sharing whatever you can give, your knowledge, expertise, or wealth, the world needs more and more of all of you. Thank you.